Before I started the stream today, I came across this thread about comparing Enfield and AK actually. And I thought this was just a very insightful thread because this person writes, I hate to admit it, but Enfield is more comfortable to play than Arknights for me. I'm really tired of rushing to close events with limited rewards EX stages. I'm always tired after work and arrive very late to rest at home. Enfield at least doesn't block access to anything except for minor quests, and it usually hang out for quite a long time and are easily completed at about 10 minutes a day. I wish the events in AK lasted longer. So, the way that I see this type of players is that they don't necessarily have that FOMO of like logging in every single day, and instead, they just get in order to, if they can get pools, sure, they'll get the pools, like the casual 200 randoms that they can get. They probably don't even complete their weekly stuff. If they do, then okay, that's strange because AK wouldn't be that high effort per se because you can just auto farm. But let's just put the case that this is a person who casually logs in, right? You also have people who just logs in like every limited event and don't ever appear ever again. They come back every 3 months for AK. But in the case of these people, when it comes to Enfield and why they say that Enfield is more comfortable, I do sort of feel that at the very least for a lot of the side quests and even main story that Enfield has, this is the reason why I think Enfield is a little bit better for a wider audience and why it sucks for people like content creators per se. Because content creators love the crap out to rush the game. So they will rush the game in like 2 days, in 3 days, and then after complain that there's nothing to do. But for the everyday player, like a person like this, I kind of feel that it's perfectly reasonable that they feel that, whoa, Enfield has a lot to do, but I can just take my time to kind of do it because they can just play for 2 hours a day, right? Even if they haven't finished the story, they continue the next day, they continue the day after. Whereas in the case of AK, like in this case, they're talking about the gameplay, but if you talk about like someone who wants to read AK story kind of like goes very long. And as a result, it's the reason why a lot of people resort to summaries, but in truth, they don't really take the time to appreciate AK stories. And then, as a result, they start to feel that it's a dread to read on, and there it kind of goes, you know. I'm going to read some of the other people who reply to this person. So this person said the feeling is mutual, but it really comes down to being fed up with the game and not being tired. Especially if you're OG player, with events are just not special event anymore. It's the same 10 common stages and 8 EX stages all over with slightly different rules. So I find that this person is a little bit like, I agree with what this person is saying, but I also think you end up feeling like this if you play the game exactly like a meta player would do, right? If you play every single stage with the same favorite 12 operators when the game offers like 400 people, of course you're gonna feel like there isn't anything much to play because you're just doing the same skills, you're just clicking on the same thing, you're seeing the same dynamic and interactions of operators, and then you're gonna easily get burnout, and then you're just gonna be like, there's no gameplay. But in truth, like, there's so many different ways for you to play this game. And it's just whether or not you want to set yourself there. Like, it's the reason why when you watch my streams and I react to a brand new event, I always play it thematically, right? I always play with which characters have appeared in that story, and then let me use that as my 12-man squad. You know, if it's a Rhinelab event, let me play Rhinelab only. If it's a Yerek event, let me play Yerek only. You know, if there isn't really a team, I can do all sorts of funny things, right? I can just randomize, do a spinner, just see if I can even know how to play this stuff. Because it's true, if you just play with like the 12 best operators in this game, you can defeat every single stage in this game. And it's just gonna feel like nothing. You know, there's a reason why people say that the most meta people like Tragodia, Wizardel, and Wang, in a way, truly destroyed the way of the game because you start to think less, you start to strategize less. The definitions of lane splitting, lane holding starts going out the window when you have a person that just kills everything, you know? And that's why once you remove them, you start to realize, oh wait, I have to take a little bit more effort to appreciate these kind of things, right? To me, these meta units, I don't really feel bad about them because they exist for the sake of people who, as such, don't have the time to play the game, right? If you don't want to play the game with difficulty, then one of my biggest recommendations is chase all these meta units so that you can always be fast at clearing the EX stages and the normal stages and be done with it. Just quickly do a farm or don't at all. And then you can feel like AK isn't that much of a chore. But then again, at the same time, I do also feel the whole vibe that these people are saying about them being tired after work. And as a result, they don't really want to play the game. Now, I'm at the age of 26, and the only sort of work that I have to do right now is content creation. I've said that I'm going to do this for the entire year. If I was not content creating, I would be doing a certain job and then I would be playing AK on the side. I'm definitely never going to quit AK, as you see from some of my other videos. But the problem that I have as well is when you are a working person, you will hit a point where your free time feels a lot less. And as a result, you don't feel the need or the want to like open the game. And then the thing is that when you don't open Endfield for some time, right? Like let's say you don't open Endfield for a month, you won't feel like you exactly lost out. You lost out in terms of pools, you lost out in terms of limited time materials, but you didn't lose out in terms of like content, because all of the map stuff, all of the secret dungeons, monsters that you can interact with, they're all still there sitting for you to play after 1 month of not playing the game. But if you don't play AK, for example, in a month, it could mean that you miss out playing Stronghold Protocol, for example, right? You miss out playing one of the high-end events, you don't play CC for a period of time, and then all of a sudden you also don't play any of the normal stages, EX stages, or S stages. And then you're gonna feel like, oh man, now I have free time, but I can't really go back to play it. I've got to wait for a whole year for the rerun type of thing. And you're gonna start feeling like you're behind, So this is kind of the reason why like this person kind of said that, I wish that the quest can hang out for a little longer. And I feel for such people. There are some people out there who have even tougher work. They work in the medical field, they work in the tech field, and truthfully, like, once you had a hard, long day of work, sometimes you don't even think about playing a game. You just want to like lie down, rest, not talk to anybody, just doom scroll or just watch some videos and be done with it. So, like, I'm not against what this guy is saying. I feel that this can happen. But at the same time as well, I also do wonder if this isn't so much of an expression of the work, and it's also an expression of you might not be feeling it for the games as well. I kind of wanted to put forth that for a lot of us when we started playing AK launched for us at a period when we were anywhere between the age of 16 to 25, I would say, for a lot of us. And AK is lasting for about 6 to 7 years now. And as a result, where we are now from that 16 to 25, we are now at this 21 to 30, We're all in a very different phase of life. We are either a university student, we've already graduated, we are now in the working world. As a result, people not just have less time to play the game, I also feel that such people have less time to be able to watch videos or be a part of the community. So I think this is very apparent within my own channel as well, where people just don't have the time to tune into my videos anymore. You can say that the same 16 to 25-year-old can still come in and join AK and play this game. But for a lot of these people, they feel like there is something stopping them from joining this game, because while I want to say that AK is one of the easiest games that you can join, it's actually very new player friendly. But the thing that deters these people is the amount of content that AK has, right? When you step into AK, you open up all the menus and then you start to realize tons of rerun events for you to complete. IS2 to IS6 for you to do, right? RA2 is in, then there's all sorts of like Annihilation, SSS, then there's the record restore, there's the operator records for you to be completing. Then you start to see like, whoa, so many things to build, so many units to care about. Where do I actually go? Like the information overdose, I feel, for new players today kind of overwhelms them quite a bit to not want to like play the game. But the reason why I always say that AK is good for people to join is because it's only good if you're someone who wants to game. If you want a genuinely good game where content can never be completed in a week, and instead you probably have to play a whole year, even if you're a complete rusher of this game, no way you're doing it in a week or a month. You have to be taking a lot of time to try to get far in terms of understanding the game and even the story of Arknights. If you add story to the picture, good luck completing the over 2 million words that AK has in order to really catch up with all of the lore of AK. As a result, right, when you compare to the game state of Endfield, I would say, like Endfield feels more approachable of a game right now. Like, that's not to say that it's going to stay the same though. To me, this idea where Endfield is comfortable, you're looking at the start of Endfield. I just don't know if that's going to be the case in like 2 years or 3 years time. If Endfield suddenly starts to match AK, then it's going to work out. Now, by the way, on the side of saying the 16 to 25 years old, as a result of them not getting overwhelmed by AK, I feel that that's also the reason that the other gacha games do much better. Like with the likes of ZZ, HSR, and possibly like Wuthering Waves or Neverness, those games looks a little bit, they're very casual oriented really. There isn't so much technicality for you to understand of the operators or the units that you use over there. Just push together 4 good teams, let the auto attack happens, well in this case in the form of HSR, and then just swim with it. You don't really have to engage so much with understanding why the units work. Of course if you want to you can, but it's not that high of a level per se. And as a result, like, because these games feel more approachable, they just have a naturally bigger player base. So yeah, I just find that that is the dynamic, the feel of these games right now. I'm going to read some of the other comments that these people have put forth as well. This is why I had to stop playing AK. I was too tired from work, never had the time to read events, they just kept piling up. I had to skip entire chapters just to get into materials for new operators. Made you so sad, you wish you had more free time. I've always felt like for such people, like I'm reading the story after I done the game and the chapters. I understand that the problem with AK is sometimes the boss spoils the story because you see who is featured, since they are related after all, and that's why people want to read before they actually play the stages. So it's a little bit of an issue. But yeah, for me, I've never been bothered by spoilers, because I don't believe in the idea that knowing who dies or who becomes a villain is the be-all end-all of your story reading experience. To me, the great thing about AK's story is the process of why they are who they are. That is a lot more interesting. Because I could kind of say this, making a villain or making a death can be the cheapest thing that you ever do, right? We could say that about Nephrith in AK, right? But if you give them substance, you give them a good background of, you know, how they come to be who they are, that I think is a lot better for you to discover. So yeah, as someone who started AK after Endfield, it hurts too much. Like, what do you mean the banners at event durations are short, and you're always out of LMD? No, I need to make a whole separate video about this. These people need to take a chill. You don't need to have level 90 people. You don't need to have like E2 everything at the start of the game, you know? Enjoy the game at your own pace. You need to feel what AK feels like. Learn the basics before you start smashing everything with your Wizardel and your Tragonia. Yeah. Okay, the replies are getting very stranger as things goes on. Please don't try to fight them. For those of you who's watching this video, there's no reason to. You are no AK White Knight. I am not an AK White Knight. Okay? We all are just here to enjoy AK. And I'm here to also just feel for the people who feel like they don't have the time to play AK. You know? Yeah. It's very interesting, right? Like, some of us love AK more than Endfield, but you're looking at a crew of people who enjoys Endfield more than AK, and I think that's perfectly fine. You know, that Endfield really can appeal to a category of audience. The fact that things feel a little bit easier for you to do, like building units in Endfield, also so much easier than AK. Like the fact that I'm already at level 80 every character, all the skills already built up to level 9, that I can't do in AK. And yeah, I think it's just a good thing that Endfield is just offering that different sort of stuff. At the end of the day, they are still two very fundamentally different games, right? 3D action RPG, you have 2D tower defense real time. But still, at the end of the day, pick your poison, I suppose. Like, pick what you enjoy and just play it as it is, you know? Figure out what works with your time. We are all much older people nowadays, and it's not easy for us to play games as and when that we want. If you feel like you need to take a break from playing a game, take as long as a break as you need. It could be a few days, it could be weeks, it could be months, and just come back into it when you are ready. The game will always be there for you to play. Whether it's AK, whether it's Endfield, there's always going to be things for you to look forward to. You don't have to feel like you're lost out. Games shouldn't run your whole life. So that's that. I'm saying that while being someone who plays IS almost every single day off stream. Alright, hope you enjoyed this video. See you in another one. Bye.